Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm excited to be talking about Death Stranding 2. I'm a big fan of the original Death Stranding. The artworks that you see on the screen are what we're going to go through today, and I'm going to show you the speed paints, kind of the process of how I painted them. Some are in Clip Studio Paint and some are in Procreate. We've been hearing rumors that we're going to get Death Stranding 2, then we got an official announcement, and now we know it's probably going to come out in 2025, 2026, depending on if things go well or not. I actually have the Death Stranding art book, and it's pretty wonderful. You have a lot of ink designs, digital designs, and everything's really haunting and captivating, but there's also a lot of underwater themes to what they designed and just kind of going back to that like primordial evolution of we all come from water and just really looking at like what happened or what would we look like and what would things be like if we really kind of had more of that heavy water influence, and it's just really neat. So I'm excited to see the new plot lines and the new characters and just see where everything goes. This first artwork is, of course, of Sam Porter Bridges, our awesome main character. And he's actually, I was drawing him from a screen cap, and unfortunately, I just don't find this painting very good. I don't think it really looks like the screen cap that I was using at all. The and this is the theme throughout all of these paintings. The under painting or like that shadow that I laid down is so much more successful than the lines that I put in for the actual forms. Like his actual shadow shapes really matched, and then somehow I squished his face and his hair down. I really lost the proportions. And I will defend myself just a little bit. I'll give myself a little credit. I drew this in a car on a road trip. So there were some distractions and it wasn't like the perfect um, office area to create in, but there are glimpses of it looking like it should, like it having similarities and a likeness. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. There are likenesses every once in a while, like the brows, the mouth, but something's wrong with the hair, the angle, and I think here's where I kind of realize something's off, and it's much more successful now, but I think I shrank his head too much. So, unfortunately, that is the frustrating part of maybe not being in practice, and my eye is just not as good. It knows something's wrong, but it can't figure out what is wrong, and then I just sort of struggle through it. So here I'm really trying to figure out what is it that is making this look incorrect. I created this in Clip Studio Paint, and I really enjoy messing around in that. I'm using the paint uh a application brush, I believe. It's like paint and apply. And I liked it. It drags some paint with it when you use it. I'm still getting used to them though, so I'm not sure that I really know what I'm doing yet. I think right here, if I had moved his eyes down a little bit, or maybe his nose and his mouth up, I think I would have been close. But at this point, I decide to call it done, and I move on to the next painting that I actually made just a few minutes later. Now, this is of course, our titular villain, um, Higgs. Honestly, I don't know how to say his last name, Monaghan. Uh, and he's an interesting character. He, he's, I think, gonna be given a redemption arc in the new game. Now, I have the same problem with this painting. I start out and my shadow shapes look great. I see the form, it really looks like him. And I think I just shrink his proportions. I think it's just a matter of things aren't drawn quite where they need to be. And I think that will get better with time and with practice, I hope. But I'm definitely having proportional issues. That being said, though, I think this one is pretty successful until the end. I made this also in Clip Studio Paint. I really wanted to go for a painterly black and white look. I adore the new design. Actually didn't like Higgs in the first game. I thought he was kind of, I don't know. I just didn't vibe with him. And usually I really like villains. And I think part of that could be that he has kind of this southern flair to him. And I'm from the South, and so I don't know if maybe that had something to do with it. And I just felt like his personality was kind of weird, almost like it was put on. But at this point, I think it's really successful. And I'm proud. It really does look like him. The face shape is correct, the nose shape is correct. So I'm not sure at what point I lose it. I'm sure we'll see it in just a minute. But in the new game, I like the kind of cyber samurai guitar holding concept design that they have for him. I'm hoping he'll be a reluctant ally and that we'll get more of his backstory because in the first game there's kind of a secret lore that if you don't go deep into the game, you really don't know about it. And it just kind of has to do with him and Fragile's mother and kind of his story, his upbringing, and in a weird way, him and Fragile are almost like siblings. So spoilers for the first game. If you haven't played it, you might want to skip ahead or mute me. But I'm basically going to talk about Fragile's mother and how she relates to Higgs. This is your chance to run away. But seriously, so they there's a whole plot line where Higgs is abused by his uncle. He gets out of that abusive relationship, sort of by murdering his uncle. He gets picked up by Coffin because he's very useful because he can sense BTs. Um, and so Coffin is Fragile's mother, who abandoned Fragile to kind of like fight the good fight and like try to stop Bridges from making bridge babies, and it's like a whole convoluted thing. But in the end, Coffin dies with this little girl that she saved. It's kind of like her daughter, but hello, she has Fragile, but she abandoned her. And Higgs, I think, sees Coffin as a mother figure as well. And by the way, in the painting, I've totally lost it. It does not look like him at all. But I think Higgs has this undeveloped storyline where, his parental figures were abusive, his maternal figure dies at the hand of Bridges. He's taken in by Amelie, who basically destroys his mind with the mask. And it would be really interesting to see if he comes back and is more of a driving force in the game, and has some more personality than just being like a weapon. Because I really feel like he was a puppet in the last game, and we all know that puppets are a big deal in this new game. We have like marionettes, and we have lots of strings and attachments, and it seems like a big part of the game is should we have connected, and so these wires and these strings are all very prominent themes, just like the stick and the rope, which if you remember in game one, Higgs was definitely supposed to be um like the gun. We have stick versus rope, and he's the weapon and Sam is not. And so I believe in this next game that Higgs may, you know, help Sam become what he needs to be, because right now Sam has been very manipulated. Um, so I'm really excited to see where they go with it, because Kojima is just wild with his thoughts and his perceptions of what is and what could be, and I'm just really excited to see where they go with it. Now, the last one, it was successful, and then I took it too far. I over rendered it. And that is also a theme that I find in these. I have found that I over render everything. I think I need to start taking a break from projects just right in the middle of them because I tried to paint something yesterday and I noticed the same thing happened. I was painting, it looked wonderful. I got to a certain point, overworked it, hated it, started over, hated it, started over. And it was just a cycle of starting over. And I don't know if you guys go through this as well, but there's definitely something to be said for walking away from art and coming back to it because I truly feel like I am unable to see flaws if I work with something for too long. And both of the Higgs and Sam fan art in the very first of the video, the black and white fan art, they were both done within a couple hours all at once. And I think that's why they were so odd by the end of it. I think my perception gets warped. I think the way you hold your supplies, there's always like the proportional warp of like if you have something laid down. And so of course in the car I just had it on my lap and it wasn't propped up. I think that's a big part of it. So another thing I've noticed since starting this YouTube channel, I say so a lot. Oh, there I went again. I am going to attempt not to say so as much in these videos. This one was actually created in Procreate. I had to think about it. Using the Jing Sketch Harmonic series. I like those. I'm not very good at using them. They do a lot of push and pull with the paint, and I haven't quite learned how to manage that yet. But this one I think is successful with its colors. It's pretty successful in lightness, but I overwork it just like the others at the very end, and it loses a little bit of that lightness and becomes a little odd, especially in the eye area. Right here, I feel like it's pretty similar to the actor's face and the character in the video game, which he has a different face anyway. I didn't realize he kind of has a protruding upper lip, which is different than a lot of characters. A lot of characters have kind of like a concave lip and then it kind of pouts outward. His is more of a slope down from his nose to the top of the lip. And so it gives it almost like not a I don't know if swollen's the right word, but it just looks a little bit puffier than say like Sam or Fragile. And so that's interesting. I've never had that face shape in any of my drawings before. So it was kind of fun to figure out how do I draw that, and especially with his makeup on. That kind of hides some of his features. So I really like the way that I did the coloring. I was trying to mimic this one, which I actually drew before all of these, and it's my most successful. And, I put it last because it is the most successful, but I also feel like I did everything right in this one. I used big shapes in the beginning and then defined them down. I kept everything really large and really loose. I didn't get tight with it. And I walked away from it multiple times. So this first portion where I had all the shadow shapes and I got to about right here, you'll kind of see whenever I get it to a finished part, and I walked away. And then I come back and I start using a very small tool to pin in the face. And then I come back and I start coloring in the body. And I really think that's what made this successful. I walked away multiple times. I took my time. I made big um swatches of color. I never got tight with it. Here, this is still in that first section before I really walked away from it. And here's the second section where I come back and I was like, okay, I'm ready to try to pencil it in from these big shapes that I have. And if I could just remind myself to do this each time, I think my work would be so much more successful. This is my favorite portrait that I've ever drawn because it is loose, it has character, the colors are very loose. You'll see at the end they become very vibrant, and all of that just came from me taking my time, walking away, coming back, and doing this in pieces instead of feeling like if I walked away that I wouldn't return to it, which unfortunately is a habit I've learned from dealing with my ADHD, which I only this year was diagnosed, and I can see now that that's really what I was doing. I was scared to walk away from a piece because if I walked away, I might not ever finish it. But when I do walk away, I create things like this that are absolutely beautiful. And I just want to encourage you guys, if you're not walking away from your art and coming back every once in a while, to try that and see if you feel like it improves um your drawings and kind of the way that you can see them. I just feel like it helped me really see the forms. um, this was drawn in Procreate, again, with the Jing sketch pack, the harmonics. I believe I bought his Pro pack because I really enjoyed the freebies that I got, and so I thought I'm just gonna go ahead and support him. He's got a lifetime license. So I went ahead and downloaded that brush pack and really just loved the way the colors laid down. They almost have a pastel or a chalk consistency texture to them, and I loved the purple undertones. Now, I based this on a photo of Leia Sadu at a press conference where she kind of, I believe she was crying in the photo, and she was just really like a painting, a Renaissance painting, and I thought I want to recreate that and make it, fragile, because I just thought that was a really successful photo that really just captured that I'm fragile but not that fragile. Um I hope that seeing all these different styles and stylizations, to be fair, of these different characters has helped you think about your art in a different way. I hope that you will take time and walk away from your art every once in a while just to see if this works for you, because now that I've seen it in action, I know that this is what I should be doing. Now, if you're as hyped for Death Stranding 2 as I am, leave me any of your theories or what you're excited for in the next game. There is a lot going on, and I actually have a theory video that I put up and really cut up the trailer and tried to rearrange it in the way I thought that it was done, just because I love it. I'm obsessed. I think it's great. I wish there were more people posting lore and theory videos for Death Stranding, because that is just, I just want to watch them all. But I hope you guys have a good day. I'll see you next time. Comment, like, subscribe if you want to see anything new on the channel, because if you don't do that, then you may not get a notification. But if you don't want to, that's fine. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you on the flip side. Bye!